Milo, is that you?
There, I think I got it. Is that what you do? You pull the big lever in the left-hand corner?
Pull the big lever in the left-hand corner.
Before we get too far along, Bruce,
yes.
Do you know if this is the first podcast since the last podcast?
It is.
Wow.
But it may or may not be the first podcast before the next podcast.
That's true. It may not be.
It may not be.
There may be several others before the next podcast.
That's true.
So
as all we know, it is now.
That's right. So right now, we're recording this on a Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m., and we're sitting on the beach in St. Martin's, sipping a couple of...
it's beautiful. The gulls and the tropical birds are fantastic. There are a few ladies in bikinis, by the way, too.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yeah, we're having a couple of frosted martinis in our deck chairs.
Yes.
But the only problem is, I think we're sitting on the flight path. Right behind us is the runway at St. Martin's.
Oh, yeah, the one. Yeah. Oh, here comes one now. There's some great videos of that runway, people getting blown over by jet rash and stuff.
And they tell you to be very careful doing.
Well, yeah.
It's actually not actually that safe.
No.
It'd be kind of interesting to try it once because, I mean, the planes aren't that close to them, and yet there's enough blast that, from a couple 100 feet away, boom. You see people tumbling down the water there.
Yeah.
I want to apologize for being late.
Oh, no. Was Rhode Island involved?
No.
Okay, so it wasn't because you had to go around Rhode Island.
No, recently we released a podcast with Lance Mindheim.
Yes, we did.
Tom Klomoski was on there.
Yes, he was.
The originator of the Marginally Adequate fan.
Yes.
He's the Marginally Adequate super fan now.
He is now the Marginally Adequate super fan.
And William Sampson, William,
don't call him Steve Sampson.
And the guy that really created Fred the Sock.
Yes, that is true. He took the ideas and gave birth to Fred the Sock.
I just had an idea too. Shouldn't he be a super fan? If you're the guy that creates Fred the Sock, wouldn't that automatically make you a super fan?
I would think that would kind of put you right up there in the running.
Yeah, or at least put you in the running. Anyways,
number 44.
Well, we'll see.
We'll have some discussions on the matter.
Yeah, we'll run it by the board and see what they say.
Yeah.
But anyways, one of the things that struck me with Lance when we were trying to dig deeper into the mind and soul of Lance Mindheim was that he was very influenced by the show Miami Vice.
Yes.
And ever since then, I can't get Don Johnson's hair out of my mind.
There's some nice hair back in the 70s on shows like that, wasn't there?
So I've been trying. The reason I was late tonight is I was working on my hair because I'm trying to get it like Don Johnson's from Miami Vice.
Uh-huh. And how'd that go?
I said I was trying.
Oh, okay. Trying being the operative word there.
Yeah.
So we can assume you're back to normal now?
No.
Well, as normal as you can get?
Yeah. You know what? I've been trying to find a new barber.
Yes.
So you and I had the same barber. How long do you think you went to Mike the Barber?
I went to Mike the Barber probably late 95, early 96 after I moved up here.
So probably 25 years. 25 years,
yeah.
And I went since about 1981. So we figure it was almost 40 years that I was going to Mike the Barber.
That's a long time with one guy.
I know. With many adventures in between.
Indeed.
So to be completely honest, I always wanted, I have beautiful flowing locks.
It's amazing. You're like, who's that guy with the blonde hair, the long blonde hair,
Michael Bolton? No.
Yeah, he's one, but no, the actor, not the actor. He's like a model kind of guy. Not on all the covers of the romance novels and stuff.
You read a lot of romance novels, do you?
Gene's not helping. Oh no, I just don't think Fabio.
Oh yeah,
Fabio. Okay. Yeah. You're kind of like the dark-haired version of Fabio.
His day is kind of come and gone.
Yes.
Fabio is no. Anyway, really, actually, Don Johnson just did a remake of what was that other show he had with Cheech and Chong guy. It was
forget.
It was another show. It was I bet you our next guest. You know what? That's what our first question we'll ask our next guest.
If he knows.
Yeah. And we'll ask him if he knows what that show was. Right. So, anyways, I went with Mike the barber for almost 40 years. 40 years. And in that time, we had many adventures. We were held up. One time we almost got held up. Another time he painted a Playboy bunny on the back of the head of Brian, a regular customer.
Yes, a Brian, a guy we know well, yes. I wish I'd been around for that. What a classic.
Oh, man, he almost killed him. I thought he was going to kill him when he came back. I kind of hung around the barbershop all day, or I kept trying to get it. And this was before texting or cell phones, so I was trying to kind of hanging around the barbershop all day, trying to get updates, and finally I got winded. And I kind of go down to the barbershop, and I see him chasing Mike down the street. Mike's killing himself laughing. And
well, of course he would.
Let's see. Hang on here. All right. So, anyways.
Do you want the answer to your question, or
no? We're gonna. That'll be the first question.
Ask you first. Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, I was quite happy with Mike the barber's haircut, but he wasn't necessarily a stylist. He was more like Floyd the barber.
He's definitely Floyd the barber, yeah.
Yeah, more of a basic haircut kind of guy, and so I thought, well, if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to gotta change barbers, I'll try it. First, I went into where my
into Ronaldo's, which is kind of like a fancy.
Oh man.
A fancy hairstylist place where many, many women go.
Many, many women. And it has that.
Jingos.
And it has that.
No, Rinaldi. Sorry, I'm being corrected by my wife who goes there.
Yeah, I call it the House of Ramoli. So.
The House of Ramoli, right?
So, yeah, the first time I went in there to get a haircut, I was like, there's no hair washing here. I just want a haircut. Right. And the guy's like, no, I got to wash your hair. And I'm like, no, you don't. So I actually got up out of the chair and gave the guy the $40 and left.
Oh, well, there you go.
I said, no, nothing against you, but the smell is getting to me of all the women's stuff. And
yeah, it has a unique
oh my god,
odor about it, doesn't it?
Yeah. So then I found
funk. It's the beauty salon funk.
Yeah. So then I found a couple of guys, Matt and Vince, father and son, and I like them. Yes. I think they're having trouble getting to know me. They're having a hard time getting to know my snarky putz personality.
All right.
And the last 3 haircuts I've got, I tell them I don't want it cut too short, leave something on the sides. And now I'm ending up with this modern haircut where it's like the sides are short and there's lots on the top. And I'm thinking to myself, do I look 30 years old to you? I don't want that kind of haircut. I want it. So now I'm going to take in a picture of Don Johnson. And I say,
I want this kind of hair.
I want this kind of hair. This is the kind
Vince,
of hair.
I want this.
I got the hair to do it. So now let's just do it.
Well, you do indeed. Yeah, let's do it.
Vince does an excellent haircut, and it combs out really well, but it's just too short on the sides.
Yeah, well, Vince does a number 2 all over on my pretty much bald head, and it works good for me.
I think I could cut your hair.
Yeah, just get the clippers off. There you go. The lockdown haircuts around here are pretty easy. Except I had to get Jean to help me with the back because I always screwed the back up because I can't see what I'm doing, right? So she'd come in and laugh a bit, then fix up the back for me.
Well, what was it, last May? In May of 2021, I cut my own hair. I couldn't stand it.
Yes, you had that adventure, I recall.
Man, that was rough.
and as you said, it was a good thing you wear a hat.
Yeah, fortunately, I wear a hat much of the time. And I've always find that to be odd because I have a giant melon. And yet, I like to wear hats.
You do, which means you're in the fitted new era ball caps.
Yeah, but it's kind
although your giant melon, as you put it, and small caps worked in your favor. At least when we went to the bush race in Michigan those many years ago.
How did that?
Well, because you didn't have the Gould's hat on, you had another hat on. You snuck away.
That's right.
You snuck away into the NASCAR garage.
That's right. We went to a NASCAR race. And under somewhere where one of the companies you
Gould's Pumps used to sponsor Mike McLaughlin.
Yeah, I think our guest is getting.
He's getting bored. He's falling
getting
over.
Restless. Yeah, I think he just slumped over in the. Okay, I'll call him on the intercom.
All right,
Steve Tuff, please come into the Boston Joe studio.
I'm here, boys. I'm here.
Were we bored?
I don't like this sand between my toes. I'm just not into. I'm not into this sand.
Were we boring you with our stories?
The Fabio thing. I know Fabio, Cheech and Chong. Yeah, a little bit, but I'm okay. Well, let's just keep going.
Well, if this is inconvenient for you. Do you remember which was the after Miami Vice? Do you remember the show Miami Vice?
The modern one or the old one?
The old one.
No.
He's much too young for that.
I'm much too young for that. Yeah. Bruce is right.
That was 1984 to 1990.
85 here. So too young.
There you go.
Too young.
And then that starred two guys, Don Johnson and some other guy. I forget who the other guy was. Don Johnson and some other guy. Everybody's screaming into the thing. That's it. Yeah, years to start. Chief actor John Johnson landed a starring roles under Sonny Crockett in the Miami Vice show. Miami Vice man, blah 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 blah. Well, they don't even mention the other guy. Johnson's work. Wow. Now that must be let me see if I can find the Miami Vice. Okay, Philip Michael Thomas. As Tubbs.
Tubbs.
That's right. Yeah. So anyways, that was 1994. And then after that, Don Johnson starred in another show, which started in 1996. Now, did you know the name of that show?
No.
Nash Bridges.
Yeah.
No, there's another one I didn't watch.
What were you doing with your time? How old of a man are you, Steve?
I am 36 as of today.
Is this your birthday?
Happy birthday.
No, it's not today.
No.
It was December.
Oh, well, in that case,
I'm a Christmas baby, so no.
Did you get stiff with one present for both?
Yeah, it even got worse. My brother and I share the same birthday, so you can think that was real fun. You can thank my parents for that one.
I know your dad.
Yeah, you do know. I think both of you know my dad pretty well.
So because when exactly is your birthday? What day?
December 19th.
Oh man. Well, tell your dad. I was shaking my head when I heard that. How did they manage to have two kids on the same day?
So the story behind it from my mom is the doctor didn't want to deliver my brother on Christmas Day, so he picked December 19th. And they thought it would be fun that I'd get to share my birthday with my brother. So that's how I take it, and that's how she takes it. My dad might have a totally different story. I'm not sure there, but
and I sense from your tone you don't agree.
No, and they probably love it because they only have to my mom only has to make one meal a year for us, and
there you go.
That kind of thing. They get away with murder. Get it over with all in one day.
So will you spend most of your childhood tied to your bed or something?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Anyways, our guest tonight is a fellow named Steve Tuff. Tuff. First name is Steve. And you contacted...
Hey, Steve?
Yeah.
Steve? Can we call you Steve?
Yeah.
Steve or Steven, doesn't matter.
Okay.
Or Tuffy. There's lots of different names. So.
Are you?
Right.
Are you?
Sure.
A toughie?
We'll try it out one day, Lionel.
I'll drop you like a 3-foot putt, boy.
You probably will.
I'll beat you like a redheaded stepchild.
Yep.
So you contacted us. Well, and why was that? Because you have a business or something?
Yeah, I co-own a company called Yelton Models.
How do you spell that?
YELTON Models.
And do they have a website?
No, not yet. It's under construction.
But you have a Facebook. We have a
Facebook page called Yelton Models on Facebook. There you can find pretty much all our products in 4 different scales. We're working on the 5th scale. Right now, we're just starting to dabble in the 5th scale.
There's a 5th scale?
Yeah, so we do N, H, O, S, O, and G.
Wow.
Yeah, it's quite busy and quite a challenge some days to produce in 5 different scales.
So how long have you got? Who you running this business with?
So I run it with my business partner is Daniel Notley. We're both local to the Niagara, Hamilton area in Ontario, and so we both run the business, and he does lots of the design work, and I do a lot of the marketing and customer relations. And
well, if you're in charge of customer relations, how come you don't have a website?
Well, you got to think of it this way: we've been in business for just over a year. We made our anniversary was 2 days ago on January 20th.
Right.
And so far we are at 105 HO scale items in over a year. So,
but have you sold any of them?
We are selling like hotcakes right now. I was at the mailbox before I left to get on the plane this afternoon to be on this interview with you two gentlemen, and was getting stuff shipped out so I could enjoy this sunny weather on the beach. So.
Okay. So, well, how do people find you? Like, okay, don't excuse my ignorance, but if you're only on Facebook, how are people finding you?
So we've had stuff published in RMC magazines. 2 of our major kits that came out last year have been in RMC, and we've done 2 train shows, one being an RPM meet at the Central Ohio RPM meet in Marion back in September of 2021. And we did a Christmas train show in Mississauga, Ontario in mid-December. And the rest of it has been word of mouth over social media. So
Mississauga is basically part of Toronto, Ontario. And how did you get to Marion? So did you go to Marion, Ohio?
No, I have friends that live down there, and one of them is the co-chairman of the show, and he helped on one of our projects last year, and he said, "Oh, I'll help you guys distribute this kit at the RPM meet." And we did a virtual thing with them at the RPM meet about the tower, and that was the kit we produced and some of our other products at the time. So
you produced because there's a big, there's like a Erie Lackawanna, there's some sort of historical tower in Marion.
Yeah,
right?
AC Tower, which stood for Atlantic Crossing, and there's also a restored station on the same piece of property as well.
What's the station called?
It's called Marion Union Station.
Okay. And so this is some sort of historical place.
Yes. Yeah. It saw at one time in the heydays of railroading, it saw 4 different railroad companies ran out of that station.
What did you say? Softboard?
4 different railroads ran out of that station. So.
Is my hearing going, Bruce?
Apparently.
I'll tell you, you got to remember, Steve, that my main thing is not everybody knows what we're talking about, so I like it to be explained in detail so everybody gets. Yep. So 4 railroads, so one of them being the Erie Lackawanna,
the Pennsylvania, the Chesapeake and Ohio, and the New York Central.
Okay. So I'm scrolling through your page here, and I see this really cool speeder car.
So that is our newest project that has been out. The one we've just brought out another one this week alone. I shipped the one this morning just before I left. We've done a CNR speeder and a Fairmont speeder, and we've just brought out a Woodings CPR/CNR speeder. So there's 2 different body styles. You get the speeder is a 1-piece shell body with an interior, wheels, and floor as another piece, and a trailer that goes behind that. That comes in both HO and in O scale. So
excuse my ignorance, if you don't mind. Well, so it says here, back in October, Kevin and Jennifer Tweed from Delaware Junction presented Marion Union Station Association President Pete White with a check from Yelton Models as a donation of the sales from the AC Tower kit. Wow, way to go, guys.
So what we did is the Marion Union Station Association provided us with a bunch of information regarding the tower. So we took part of the sales from the tower kit in the HO and in the N scale versions that we made and donated it back to the Marion Union Station Association to help preserve the tower for the next little while, because it is a great landmark, and places like that need to keep those places looking in top-notch shape need a little bit of money to do it. So we presented them with a check from Yelton Models for keeping the station and the tower going. So,
wow. And check was for $22,000.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Or somewhere slightly less.
Yeah.
I have a buddy of mine, David Start, who's he's a member he's the vice president in charge of introductions. And he's he's a member of the Erie Lackawanna Historical Society. And they not that long ago a couple of years ago did their meet there at the tower that's a very famous spot right there.
Yeah, I forget the train count from the 50s and 60s of the trains that went down through that area, but in past from the rail fanning I've done in that area, I've been there from sunrise to sunset and had between 40 and 60 trains go by there.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a busy spot. Very friendly people to talk to. Doesn't matter what time of year you go there, time of day, there's somebody always there watching trains. So
that's cool. And my buddy David, he's also the membership chairman of the Erie Lackawanna Society, which he loves doing, by the way. He loves helping. He loves being the membership chairman. And he always says to me, if any of the members have questions, they should feel free to email him and ask him whatever questions they have about life or the society, whatever they need to know. Just give David an email, send him an email, and he'll be happy to help you. Isn't that right?
No, those are the people you want to know. I find in this hobby, that want to help.
So. Absolutely, he's a helping guy. So let me pardon my ignorance here. As we go forward. But I find this, Bruce, I find this kind of stuff to be fascinating in this new world of model railroading, because it is. Yeah, it is, because here's two guys that they have no website, which by all accounts, if you don't have a website and you're trying to run a business, a mail order business, an online business, you got to have a website. So here's two guys. They don't have a website. They just have a Facebook page, and they're already kind of overwhelmed. You sound like you're like super busy, you guys.
We are very busy. Overwhelmed. I wouldn't say we're overwhelmed yet. We both have full-time jobs doing totally different things, from building model train products. Myself, I'm a truck and trailer mechanic. Dan is a professional chef. So we come from two different backgrounds, and we're doing this on our spare time, and it's amazing that what you can do in a little bit of time every week to produce some pretty amazing models.
This wouldn't happen to be, this Dan fella wouldn't happen to be somebody that worked on, what do they call it now, Little Canada or something?
Yes, it was.
I've actually met Dan.
You probably have.
Yeah, I've been down to that. What do they call it? Is that what they call it now, Bruce? Little Canada?
I'm pretty sure that's what they call it.
I think it's Little Canada. It used to be
Home and Miniature Land.
Home and Miniature Land, yeah.
It's very complicated.
That's before they relocated to Dundas and Young.
Yeah, so he was part of the location when it was up in North Mississauga, if you want to call it that. And he was in the transition from the North Mississauga location to downtown Toronto. And then after it got set up and a little bit running, he stepped away from it to do some other things.
Okay. And what are those other things? But that's not important. So how did you two guys?
Well,
so
I'll just throw something in here, though. We should be looking at some sort of AML picnic in the Toronto area with Dan being the chef in charge.
Well, there you go. I'm liking that. Or we should do like have the AML gang, the Southern Ontario AML gang, do a train ride someday, and then we could go to Dan's restaurant.
Right. There you go.
Where is Dan currently employed?
He is currently employed, yes.
Where's the restaurant that he works at?
I'm not good with names. I just know it's an Italian restaurant. That's all I can tell you.
We like Italian.
Yeah.
We're YouTubers, so I have no problem.
Which apparently you frequently go there.
No, actually, I haven't been there yet. So
nice.
I like Italian, but I haven't been there yet. So
you haven't been to your partner's restaurant to taste his cuisine?
No.
Too busy cranking out 3D models.
Yeah, pretty much.
I feel bad, Dan. I feel bad that he hasn't come by. All right, I'm very confused by this, Steve. So you're going to have to be very patient with me and explain this to me. How did you guys decide to start a business that you weren't going to advertise or you weren't going to have a website for? And so how did you guys decide to start a business where you were going to make 3D models and you weren't going to have a website? And like, what was, because it seems like everybody and his brother these days is starting a 3D printing business.
So Dan, I've known Dan for quite a few years through my dad and through his uncle, and talked to him at train shows and stuff like that. And I also own a model railroad shop based out of my house. And he gave me a call one day and said, "Hey, can I come over? I want to show you some stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah, no problem. Come on over." So him and another gentleman come over and he digs some stuff out and he's like, "Hey, what do you think of this stuff?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's pretty cool. Where'd you get that from?" He's like, No, I 3D print it." And I'm like, "Wow, that's interesting." There it was at the time there was some spike pails, like 5-gallon pails, a water tower, an industrial water tower, signal relay cabinets, little trackside odds and ends. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is really cool. What else can you do?" He's like, "Whatever you want." I'm like, "Okay, so here's a list of stuff. How about we try making some of this stuff?" About 3 days later, he says, "Okay, that list of stuff's done. Do you want to start selling it?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay, no problem." I didn't think of it that fast. So I said to him, "My next question is, so what are we going to call this name of yours?" And he's like, "Hey, that's a good question. I don't know it. Let me think about it." So a couple days go by and I finally see him. "So did you come up with a name?" And he goes, "Yeah, Yelton Models." And I went, "Okay, I'm good with that. Where does it come from?" He goes, "Oh, it's my last name spelled backwards." And I went, "Oh, that's easy to remember. I even know how to spell it too." So
his last name is Notley?
Is Notley. So that's how Yelton Models got its name and came of being. Was a small trip over to my model train shop one night and had a couple conversations about it, and that's the past. And a year later, we're over 100 different models and 5 different scales. And
how many 3D machines do you guys have going?
6.
6.
6, yes.
And does Dan have them all at his place, or do you have them at your place? Where are they?
We share them, type thing.
Okay.
Depends on what's going on. So.
All right. So you have some at your place, and he has some at his place.
Yeah.
And do you print stuff? Do you print stuff to order, or do you print stuff?
So my model train shop in my house has stock all the time. In some cases, some of the stuff that we've been producing lately, it gets ordered and it goes out right away. So we try to keep at least one item in stock all the time. But as of late, we've bring it out and it goes out the door the next day. So some of the new stuff, it's been hard to keep in stock. Some of the older stuff has quite a good stock number on it now, so we always have stuff that can be shipped out to you pretty fast.
So what's been your most popular item?
So this past week, it's been speeders and O-scale. And actually, it's been O-scale in general has been very popular. We have 20, I think as of this morning, we had 20 different products in O-scale that we're bringing out. And that goes from 5-gallon pails to speeders to electrical transformers that you would see in a industrial park.
All right, let's cut to the chase here. How do people see your lineup of products?
So if you go on the Facebook page, lots of the pictures of the stuff being produced are on the Facebook page.
Right.
You can order right off the Facebook page if you really want, or you can send us an email at yeltonmodels@outlook.com.
Are you guys going to make a Facebook or a website?
That is in the next couple weeks of doing. So I'm hoping to have that out by the end of February at the latest.
Do you have a URL yet?
Not yet.
Okay, so when you do, you're going to have to update me with that so I can put it on, because you can't do this without a website, because I can't figure out what products you have other than scrolling through your Facebook page.
Yeah, that's the hard part. So,
do you guys have any idea what you're doing?
Some days yes, and some days no.
So sales have been brisk?
Sales have been brisk, yeah. Like I say, they spike, they go up, and right now they're up. So we've done a bunch of custom projects for people. One of our custom projects is you order it, we make it. And what it is we've been doing layout station signs. And you tell us whatever your station sign needs to be, and we print it up on the 3D printer, and here you go. You can mount it right to your layout.
Okay, so December 4th. Here's a custom sign we made for the New York and 7. Greg did a nice job. What's the New York and 7?
The New York and 7 is a railroad owned by a gentleman in Brantford, Ontario, called the New York and 7. So he wanted a sign to sit above his dispatcher's booth that said dispatch. And in the bottom right corner, it said the railroad's name, the New York and 7.
So it must be some sort of freelance railroad, is it?
Pretty much a freelance railroad.
Okay. I've never heard of anybody naming their railroad Bruce New York and 7.
No, neither have I. I'll ask you, did you do the signs for John Springs layout?
We did do the signs for John Springs layout, which turned into us doing signs for pretty much everybody else.
Right, because, hey, how can I get some of those? Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's John Spring?
John Spring lives not too far from... He lives about...
He's in the Tottenham area, so he's sort of about 45 minutes or so north of Toronto.
So how do you know John Spring, Bruce?
John Spring used to be a fixture at train shows all the time. I'm not sure why he was there, where they had a company he had, but he was always at train shows, and he's a big TH&B modeler.
All right.
He was one of the main guys behind the start of the TH&B Historical Society.
Okay, so that's why he was at the shows all the time. All right.
Soon we have to talk about something south of the border, because Bruce will tell you eventually I get angry just talking strictly Canadian stuff. Do you make stuff for American railroads?
Yes, sir. We've been doing, last year we did a bunch of stuff for the Pennsylvania Railroad Historical and Technical Society.
Well, how did they find you?
So we went, when we did the RPM meet in Marion, Ohio, one of their members came up to us and said, "Hey, would you be interested in making some stuff for us?" And we said, "Yeah, we'd definitely be interested in making some stuff for you." And we had already had a few Pennsylvania items in our product line, and we showed them off to them, and they're like, "This is really cool." So we've done a few more with them, and we were working with the New York Central group of guys right now as well.
Okay. So you weren't at the show. So they came up to you. They didn't come up to you. They came up to somebody else.
They came up to somebody else, but we did a live feed with the Delaware Junction down there that distributes our stuff in the U.S. And
what is Delaware Junction?
Delaware Junction is a model train shop in Delaware, Ohio. So they distribute the Yelton models for us in the U.S. and that's how we get our name in the U.S. So,
well, how did they find you?
I'm very good friends with the owners of Delaware Junction.
How did that happen?
Just like going down there and spending a lot of time with them. I've been going down to Marion, Ohio for the last 10 or 12 years and just struck up a good relationship with them. So
do they have an actual shop or are they only online as well?
They're only online as well.
Do they have a website?
They do. They do. I think all I know is it's Delaware Junction. I'm not sure.
Well, how can you not know of what their website is?
Delaware Junction. That's their website.
All right. I'm looking for Delaware Junction. Okay. Do you think it's DelawareJunction.com or?
.com, I'm pretty sure.
All right. It better be. I'll tell you, I'm coming down. I'm telling you, I'm going to beat you like a redheaded stepchild. I don't think it's DelawareJunction.com, Bruce. Do you? Delaware Online, Delaware Music Festival Wizard, Facebook I found their Facebook page, Delmar Live,
Delaware-junction.square.
That's the one, Bruce.
Why don't you know this? You're supposed to be in business.
I can't remember everything, Lionel.
Well, you got a pen?
Yeah. Quite a few of them, actually. The only problem is I don't have one that says the Modler's Life on it. That's my only problem.
Yeah, and the way you're carrying on, I wouldn't expect one showing up in the mail anytime soon either. What is it, Bruce? Delaware-Junction.
Delaware-Junction. Delaware-Junction.square.site.
All right, .square.site. Do you know Gordy Robinson?
The Nmra president?
Because I'm wondering if maybe he put you up to this, because I feel like I'm just going to be yelling at you now.
No.
So that's why I'm thinking maybe he put you up to this, so I'm just going to be yelling at you.
No.
All right, shop all. Yelton models. Okay, now we can see your stuff, but I'm not getting all the pictures. Why is it slow to load at your end, Bruce?
Yeah, I just get one picture and a bunch of little tags.
That's what I got, is one picture and a bunch of little tags. You guys, over the next year, have to get your stuff together. Because it looks like you're producing a lot of really cool stuff.
Well, there's some more pictures down at the bottom.
Oh, more pictures down at the bottom. All right.
I think maybe they're just slow loading everything.
Slow loading.
No, maybe not.
Slow loading. So did you guys make an N&W propane tank, HO scale?
Yes, sir.
Resin dumpster bins?
Yes, sir.
A Mac dump truck?
Yes, sir.
Tow motor?
Yes, sir.
All right. And
a navigational buoy?
Navigational buoy, yes.
So wow, here's your Marion AC Tower HO scale kit. It's $85.
To me, that seems an unbelievable price.
So that kit, I'll give you that.
Seems way overpriced to me too, Bruce.
So that kit comes with a full interior and all the wall panels that go inside as well. So your wainscoting, it all comes with wainscoting for the inside as well.
Somebody, you got to get a website. You guys have to get a website ASAP, because you got a lot of really cool stuff that people need to have easy access to. I'm sorry. This is just, consider it tough love.
Yeah. I know.
Dan, I know you're listening to this. If you haven't got a website by now, pitter patter, get that website made, because you guys got a lot of cool stuff that people are going to want to be able to have easy access to seeing. Come on, hustle it up, boys. All right. So you guys start selling this, or you decide to start doing this because, and you say you have a little hobby shop in your home?
Yep.
And how does that go? How is that going?
Pretty good. COVID's helped a lot. I'd been in the industry for quite a few years before I got doing it myself. And I just like it. I like talking to people, and I have a layout above the shop. So when you come in, if you want to test something, we've got the layout right there. You can see what locomotives run like through switches and cars, and see some of the new scenery products I'm using on my layout.
When you say above, do you mean like above as in a couple of feet, or above like as in on another floor?
No, like just a couple of feet.
Okay, so the store air quotes is on shelves below the layout.
Yes.
Okay, and how much? What kind of product? What's the product do you sell the most of?
I would say a lot of scenery and DCC would be my two main products.
And what's your favorite DCC to sell?
I would say ESU.
ESU. What about, do you sell more of Digitrax or more of NCE?
I would say neither. I would say I sell more of TCS and ESU.
Okay, so TCS.
He's selling decoders, not controllers. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say, Bruce, when it comes to controllers, I sell more of the ESU controllers than I do the Digitrax ones.
All right.
But you don't. Does ESU have a system?
Yeah, they have. I can't remember offhand. The ecosystem is their.
Oh yeah, right. It'd be interesting to talk to somebody that has that. How many of those?
Okay, I actually have it.
How does it work?
So it works off your Android-based phone. That's the base setup. So what I do is I have two throttles, and then I have old Android phones, and those are extra throttles. So you don't need to go and buy multiple throttles. You just go and buy cheap phones that can connect to Wi-Fi. That's how I run my trains.
Can you run it off your Apple phone?
Yep. You can run it off your Apple phone as well.
So what's the power supply? What's the booster? How do you make the power it up?
It has its own built-in power supply and booster. So you don't have to go out and buy multiple boosters or multiple power supplies. It's all based in one system.
In some sort of a box or something?
Yep. Same thing. Same look as a Digitrax system, just a little different size-wise, but everything is based out of one booster with a power system.
Okay. And what's it called?
The ECOS. The ESU ecosystem. Power. Yeah, ESU power cab.
Okay, yeah, right. It's a Europe. They're basically out of Europe.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay, here it is. Here, is this the one though that? Okay, so I'm looking at one 5200, 50200. It has a screen on it and a command station with two dials.
Yeah, that's the tabletop one, and then they make a handheld throttle version too.
They have a handheld throttle that has we can't have the booster and the power.
No. The handheld's like your like a radio throttle from Digitrax or NC. That kind of setup.
Oh, okay. So how's that website going?
It's going. I'm working on it right now.
Attaboy.
It's kind of hard on the beach, but
yeah, it's harder on the beach. I understand, but you got to dig in and do what you got to do. All right. So didn't you tell me you were the president of? Didn't we, when we were talking, you told me you had some definite views about the hobby and where it's going and all that.
Okay. So your first question. I am the president of the Homes Club in Hamilton, the HO Model Engineer Society. They've been around since 1948. We're on to our 6th layout, and I think we're coming up on our 75th anniversary in a couple of years. So, the organization we're on, like I said, we're on our 6th layout. The layout we're building right now is primarily focused on Hamilton, modeled by the THEB. So we run from Welland to Hamilton, with the Stelco steel being a major part of the layout. And we run mid-50s on the layout. So
I always thought it's called the Homes Club. That's what was always a slick name. And I knew your dad from somehow. Your dad was the president of it for a while, wasn't he?
My dad has been the secretary of that organization for the last 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was he ever the president?
At one time, yes. He's sat on every table, every position in the executive that you could. So,
and so it's always struck me. I mean, I remember the Homes Club as being incredibly well modeled and well built. I mean, the last one I remember was was in the basement of an old grocery store. Or something.
That was at the Delta Bingo. That's when they modeled the Bay City. It was a fictitious railroad based out of Hamilton that went as far as North Bay and Gravenhurst. And that layout came down in 1996 because the building was being turned back into a grocery store. At that time, it was a bingo hall. And we occupied the basement of the bingo hall. And then in 1996, we were told to vacate because it was being turned back into a grocery store. From then, we were about 18 months to 2 years without a home. We moved to Stony Creek, which is a suburb of Hamilton. We were there until 2007. We left that location and we've moved to Wentworth Street North in Hamilton to a retired school that's been turned into a community center for the north end of the city. And we are building a new layout about the TH&B.
And when did you guys get there?
2007.
Okay. And so you guys have had a layout under construction for 13 years there?
Yeah.
And how big is I always remember the homes. I always felt sorry for the Homes Club because it always seemed like it was just getting started and then it would have to move.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure of the size because there's multiple pieces of the layout. They're not all in the same room. The staging yard is in the lounge of the room just because we don't have room in the main room to put a staging yard. So it's a decent size classroom, if that'll give you
sure. And does the Homes Club have a website?
Yeah, it's trainweb.org/Homes Club.
Holy mackerel. Trainweb. Now, this is always the most exciting part of the podcast is where I'm typing. Trainweb.org Homes Club. Is there like a slash or something in there?
Yeah, backslash.
Homes Club. Is it a backslash or is it a forward slash?
Forward slash.
Isn't a backslash what you put behind your sink on the counter in the kitchen?
Right. Yeah, that's right, folks. He's here all week.
It's okay. So let me see recent photos. So
there's a track plan on there as well.
Oh, is there a track plan on here?
Yeah, if you click on the menu at the top, where it says Homes Layout.
Welcome Homes.
Welcome Bay City Road Homes Layout right below that.
Okay.
Click that, it takes you to a track plan.
Okay, that's a pretty cool track plan. So now, as you guys are forced to keep moving, were you able to save any parts of the layout and move it forward, or is this you keep having to start over again?
So the only part of the layout that got saved, besides the structures, was the staging yard from the old location. Everything else that is on the layout now is benchwork and everything was all totally rebuilt. Nothing was able to be saved. This layout that we've built now, if we had to move it, we could with the construction of the benchwork.
Oh, so you're kind of like building now with the thought that you might have to move, it's like insurance. Now that you're doing that, you won't have to move.
Yeah.
This is a big layout.
Yeah. So when we have an operating session, we run with about 15 guys, a full dispatcher and a train master, with 2 guys with a yard master and 2 yard guys.
Okay.
So there's a north yard and a south yard on the THB in Aberdeen, and those 2 guys are working. We do 3 8-hour shifts, and every 8-hour shift they're working pretty much the whole time to build trains for in and outbounds.
Right. You mean like 8-hour shift as in fast clock or 8 hours?
In fast clock, yes.
Okay. And how fast does 8 hours take?
About 3 real hours.
Okay, which would be 1 operating session.
Yeah.
Okay. And so how much of this layout is completed? Like, is most of the track in?
100% of the track is complete. Scenery-wise, we're around 50%. It's fully operational, wired, all that. We are in the process of putting signals in. They were scratch built. All the signals on the layout were actually scratch built by my father and a couple other gentlemen.
Wow.
In the club. We are working on putting a JMRI control system in, like using the JMRI software.
Oh, yeah.
We also have a CMRI system from Bruce Chubb as well that we've taken years to build. So,
and I remember your dad as being just a really nice guy.
Yes.
So what happened to you?
Yeah.
That was rude. That was rude.
Yeah,
And
it
I
wasn't very
apologize.
nice.
No, I know.
But
that's why somebody I read on somewhere on a comment about the podcast somewhere, Bruce, on a forum, somebody referred to me as a snarky putz.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which actually which I think kind of actually perfectly describes me.
He's one of the guys on Happy Days, wasn't he? Snarky Putz?
Yeah, Snarky Putz. He was also a second baseman for the Yankees in the 50s.
Right.
Until he got hit, and he was going for a ground ball and got hit in the head by a pigeon, and that would put him out. I took out his eye. Yeah. So you guys. So how many members do you have?
Right now we're around 30 members. What we do is we have two membership setups. So we have our regular members. There's about 15 to 18 guys in there, and then we have an operating crew. And the operating crew, all they do is when we have an operating session, all they do is come down and operate trains to give us more bodies. The regular members are the members that take care of the layout, maintain the layout, provide the rolling stock for the layout.
So you have a regular members. How much does it cost to be a regular member?
$300 a year, so it's $25 a month, and it's $60 a year to be an operating crew member.
So a bunch of guys work themselves to death, making a spectacular layout, and then for a few bucks, a bunch of other guys come in and run it.
Pretty much.
And how does that go?
Actually, really well. We have, like I said, the 10 guys that are the operating crew guys respect the layout like it's their own, and respect all the guys that actually work on it all the time and maintain it. So we have a pretty good relationship with everybody. That the layout, if there is a problem, you don't just walk away and say that's not my problem. Everybody works together to get everything working properly.
So these pictures, is there somewhere on the website that talks about membership?
There should be. I'm not sure. I looked at it the other day, and as of right now, because of COVID, our membership is closed. But yeah, when COVID is over with,
it says join us. There you go.
Yeah.
New members always welcome, interest and fun, blah, 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 blah. Statement and club fly. Oh, it says no under membership requirements, Bruce. It says no snarky putzes.
Oh,
we'll take you, Lionel. Don't worry.
Well, now you're making an exception.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Once you let one snarky putz in, you got to let them all in.
Well, no, they can say no putzes. You can have one, but not multiple snarky putzes.
Yeah. Tell me what it's. So I want to know from a 35-year-old guy. Okay, so you've been, like I say, I remember your dad. Your dad's a great guy. He's always nice to me, and seemed to be an avid model railroader. So you were raised in it. You were raised around model railroading. So what is it? And people, I personally believe the hobby of model railroading is much younger than people think. I think it's a very young hobby with a lot of, and I think now today with the advent of social media and the internet, I think there's a lot of people under the age of 40 that are just as involved in the hobby as anybody else.
I would say under the age of 40, I would say there's a lot more guys out there that are into the hobby than you think. For years, people said, "Oh, it's an old man's hobby. You have to be over the age of 40 type thing to be a model railroader." Nowadays, I don't see that one bit. I know guys that I have customers that are still in high school that are coming in and buying trains. They like trains, so that's their thing, right? It's not a dying hobby. I will tell you that. I've got customers that are from the age of 16 to the age of 80, and they're still going strong. So it's one of those things where it's not a dying hobby. I think this hobby is booming like crazy, and the more younger guys are bringing it, that are the guys that want the newer stuff, the more modern stuff, the better technology and lighting and decoders and sound. Those are the guys that are actually pushing the hobby.
I actually believe you're 100% right there. I was going to say something and I can't remember what it was. Couldn't have been that good. Yeah, because I think all those young guys, I mean, we're all young guys. I mean, I think the majority of model railroaders all started out at a very young age. And the difference now is everybody can find each other. Like I've said to Bruce before, well, I know what I was going to say, with all these young guys in the hobby and all the, people talking, you know what I think is going to happen?
What? I'm curious what you're going to say.
I think the hobby's going to explode and we're all going to be covered with model railroad goo.
So I have something to say about that.
Okay.
I always love when you say that, because in my opinion, that has happened, gone, and we're waiting for the next big blob of goo to come. This hobby has grown so fast, so rapidly in the last couple of years that waiting to see what the model manufacturers can bring out next and look what 3D printing is doing for this hobby. I'm waiting for the next big dumping of goop to come. I hope it's blue this time instead of green. It's coming. I don't know when it's going to come, but we're in for some really big, exciting announcements coming in the next couple years, maybe less than that. But this hobby's growing in leaps and bounds, and I don't think people, when they say it's dying, I don't think they haven't been in it long enough to say it's dying. It's growing like rapid fire. So,
well, as Bruce and I like to say, this hobby's been dying since the late '60s, I think.
Yeah, ever since we've been started.
Ever since we've been.
It's been a long, lingering death.
Yeah, it's been pretty sad, actually.
I look at it as when I got into the hobby, we still had lots of blue box kits. You had Accurail coming in, you had Proto coming in, and you look at it now with what Scale Trains and Shane and those guys are bringing out. David Leibach from Tangent, like bringing out cars that are super detailed as they are for a pretty reasonable amount of money. You can't get much better than that. Those years ago when we bought resin kits, or I remember my dad always saying about taking a blue box item and making resin castings to add this and that to make them better. The hobby is there. Like I'd love to see where else we can go with this industry. Like, especially in the DCC side of it, and sound. The sounds that are coming out nowadays are amazing. Like, my dad and I just picked up a couple of new Bowser units, and we were just shocked at the amount of volume and the sounds that are coming out of this unit. Years ago, when you had System 1 and Phoenix Sound that were like, oh yeah, this is good. What you got out there now is like 100 times better than that. So I don't know how much better we can get in that sort. So
that's sound seems to have been a huge one of the things that really seemed to make the hobby leap forward again. Bruce, they operate every Tuesday. We should go down there someday after.
We should go make a rundown sometime when everything's open again.
Yes, if we can get an invite from the president.
You can have an invite whenever you gentlemen would like.
All right.
We would love to have you.
All right. So now, I'm always interested, Bruce, in these guys that start these businesses and they seem to take off right away. I think that's also an indication of how this hobby isn't even coming close to I mean, this hobby, I don't think anybody has any idea what this hobby is going to do.
In Yunsko, right now, what, certainly this day and age where, for, $400 you can get into the 3D printing business in reasonable quality with a resin printer. It's a game changer because you got a lot more guys out there, doing their own stuff at home. And also, as Steve's been talking about, he and his partner, I drew all those up. Do you want to sell them now?
Yeah.
Okay. And so this is really one of the big game changers, I think, in the hobby, because you got so many things out there. And the fact that you can do one-offs.
Yeah.
The manufacturer's not tied up in inventory. Okay, you want 5 of those? Okay, you go and you set up the printers to crank out 5 copies and ship them out. It's a beautiful, beautiful system to, and ideal for model road, and where guys want this and that and the other thing, and enables manufacturers not to have huge piles of inventory kicking around on the hopes they might sell it.
Well, and the thing that this hobby provides that I think a lot of hobbies don't provide, and I mean, obviously, there's all kinds of. Now, the other day we were talking to Tom Klomoski, and I tried to make this point, and then he said, "Well, his son is involved, or somebody was involved with RC cars, and they get together and have these meets and all that stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah, I got it, but you can only race around in a circle so much. Somehow, you can only build so many RC cars." And RC, like, I love having RC cars. I'd love to have an RC plane. I'm thinking of buying myself a proper little drone. But I know after I fly the drone around, a half dozen times, the thing about this hobby is it just it continually gives you something as a place to go. Like, I mean, look at us with this podcast. I mean, the whole thing just took off, and we created a whole nation. But one of the things I've tried to put into words, and I'm not exactly, if you've noticed, if you've ever listened to the podcast, Steve, I'm not exactly a wordsmith. I do stumble around. I stumble around the English language. I'm familiar with the territory, but really never been able to settle down in the English language. But I've been trying to. One of the things this hobby offers that's becoming, and Bruce, you just referred to it, is the fact that people now can get into manufacturing in a fairly easy way. And one of the things the hobby offers is the chance to run your own little business. And a lot of people run their own little businesses through Shapeways, or buying a 3D printer or whatever.
Buying 3D printer, yeah.
And it gives you, you may not ever plan on owning a 10,000 square foot warehouse, but it gives you the opportunity to become a little business, run a little business, which is a lot of fun because you make more connections with people. I mean, go ahead.
I think you're very much right there, Lionel. The connections you make in this hobby is amazing. Like, the people you meet trackside to the people you meet at train shows, not knowing where they're coming from when you get talking to them, to making long-lasting relationships, to find out later on, actually, you live in California and I live in Toronto, Ontario, but we both model the exact same thing. This hobby that's what helps this hobby grow.
Yeah.
Leaps and bounds.
Absolutely. Once you guys get a website.
Yeah, that's coming. I should have a URL in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I bet you could get YeltonModels.com.
Yeah, I probably could. It's
too late. I already grabbed it. It's for sale.
Damn. I have to figure something else out. I'll have to buy it off of Bruce. How am I going to do that now?
Yeah, exactly. I think this is fascinating. We got to keep talking again. I mean, it gives me a chance to yell at you some more. But is there?
Oh, that's okay.
Are you a member? That's okay. Absolutely, it's okay. That's why I started the podcast. Was mostly Bruce. So Bruce, hang on a minute, Bruce. The main reason I started the podcast was to yell at Gordy Robinson, specifically.
Yeah, to hear your own voice and then to yell at Gordy.
Yeah, Gordy is like that. It's 1-2. Hear my own voice and then yell at Gordy. But what were you going to say, Steve?
So you said before, have I listened to your podcast? I use your podcast for working out, and when I'm on my walks, while I'm working out, that's all I listen to is your podcast, because I think they're full of great information that can help the modeler if you don't know certain things. Talking to people like Gordy Robinson, talking to guys from Scale Trains, David Leiblock, Scott Thornton. Those are the guys, if you didn't know who they were, you do now. And I have to say, thank you, Lionel. You've done a great deed to this hobby from your days back at Model Router. My dad said when he used to get Model Router and you wrote your column in it, he said that was the first column he read when he got that magazine, because your inspiration in the hobby has been amazing. I still have to say thank you again, Lionel, for what you do. You really do push this hobby quite well.
Well, thank you very much. That's a very nice thing for you to say. But really, it's guys like you that are enthusiastic. That, I mean, makes it pretty easy for me to have the podcast and do this, because that's what's the fun part for me is like I say, the fun part for me is yelling at you about your website. Are you kidding me? When you guys make a website and go to I do the AML one on Weebly, or go to Wix.com or something like that and do it properly like that. and have a dedicated URL, people will go nuts for this stuff. Because I keep scrolling through your Facebook page, and you got telephone booths and switch heaters and turnout heaters and speeders and all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. Like I said, the website's got when I get off the beach and I get back to the hotel later, I'm just gonna pound it out for the rest of the night, getting this website going.
Like even here, you got an easy flat car load, an old style transformer, great for a depressed flat car. I always felt bad for depressed flat cars. Yeah, I always wanted to stop and say hello and
have a little pleasant chat with them. And
try to get them out of their funk. What's wrong with me?
And I'm looking at that transformer, and I'm thinking back to about 1954 or so. Model railroader where Gordy Artegard or somebody else, they had two of them going into challenge to build the center depressed flat cars, and one of them scratch built a transformer, which looks pretty much like the one in this picture here. So
that's the other.
I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere there's an old drawing in MR of that transformer that was used.
It seems like a lot of your stuff is kits too. Like you've got a crane here that's fairly recent.
So the crane. So we've done now 2 cranes. One is a steam crane, which is a resin and plastic 3D printed model. And what I mean by that is the boiler on the steam crane is printed in plastic, or PLA is the standard abbreviation for plastic. And the rest is all done in resin. That was our model that was brought out back last year. We just recently brought out I call the modernized diesel crane. That retails for $65, which is all resin produced, all 3D resin produced.
So how many of these Marion tower kits have you sold?
So we did 30 production kits, and we oversold out in the first 2 weeks. We ran by the end of last year, we had run 35 kits, and they were all sold out.
So have you run more since, or?
We've run, I think, 1 or 2 more since. So like Bruce said, that's the benefit of 3D printing is somebody orders it, you print it up, and they have it within a couple weeks.
You got a lot of cool stuff here, right? You guys are up. All right. What else do we want to talk about? Do you belong to the NMRA?
Yes and no.
Oh, yes and no. I like that. That's an interesting answer.
I do hold a couple certificates from the NMRA.
Right.
For my MMR. My dad is MMR 366.
Is he really?
So
I forgot that. Tell your dad I apologize. I forgot that he was an MMR.
So my goal in life is to do it as well as be an MMR. So it's a father-son type thing.
So let me ask you again. Are you a member of the NMRA?
Right now, no.
Oh, okay. How come?
Just other things in life.
It only costs $30 in Canada.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'll have to. Well, back right there. There we go. Got to go back to the hotel room. I got to go sign up right now.
Yeah.
That's one of the great mysteries of the NMRA. I wonder what a life membership in Canada costs, Bruce.
They don't have them anymore.
Well, yeah, they don't even. That's right. They don't have. I am so mad about. I can remember 35 years ago discussing with the powers that be about whether or not I should join the NMRA as a life member, and it was some ridiculous amount, like $300.
That's what I got mine for. I missed out on about the $200 by a few months or so.
Yeah, and
I got mine back in I think 82.
And I don't know why. I put the thing aside and I forgot about it. Then the next time I looked, there was quite a bit more money. And then I let my membership lapse for a couple of years ago, and then I joined back up, and by then the NMRA Canada had come along, which I have absolutely no idea what that is, and I never have, and I'm quite proud of that fact. But somehow now I only have to pay $30 Canadian to be a full NMRA member, which I don't know.
That's pretty good. You can't beat that.
No. Ask your dad why that is. See if he can explain it. Can you explain that to me, Bruce?
I have no idea. So, as a life member, yeah, I don't care. But,
yeah, you don't really care.
It's
either,
not shut by no. It's one of those. Like, why does it? Why does it cost us so much less than in the States? It doesn't.
It makes no sense. How about this tanker truck you guys made?
The dry bulk tanker truck?
Yeah, you guys seem to make a lot of. Have you made other tanker trucks?
That's the only one we've made so far.
Then it would be that tanker truck.
So
you're putting Gordy put you up to this, didn't he?
Yeah, totally. He's here right now. He's going to pay me off for it too. He said. So being a truck mechanic by trade, I wanted something that I could put on my layout to say that's something I work on, because lots of people say, "Oh, you're just a truck mechanic. You work on a dry van truck," and I'm like, "No, this is what I work on." And so I spent one afternoon at work being paid. I said to the boss, "This is what I'm doing," and in return, he got a model out of the deal. So he let me go out in the yard one day and measure this trailer and take pictures of it and take video of it, and then we made a 3D model out of it. So
you guys seem to make a lot of complicated stuff.
Yeah, that's the fun part.
So I think I can talk about this with you without insulting you, because I think you're a perfect example of what it is I'm always saying. That one of the best things about model railroading, if not the best thing about model railroading, is that, and I have one of our regular listeners is David Hyde in Dallas, who plays him and his wife play in the Dallas Symphony Orchestra, and he's the head guy in the French horn section, and
wow.
Super nice guy. I've interviewed him once. David, you should get on the podcast again.
He's been posting some more photos of his layout to the fans page, which is nice.
Yeah, exactly. He does some really nice work. So, anyways, I think this is the absolute best part of model railroading, walking away, and it's becoming even more prevalent now in the new world with the social media and the internet. Is that a guy who's a truck mechanic, solid citizen, a good guy, president of his local club, nothing wrong with being a truck mechanic, proud of himself for being a truck mechanic, and a guy in Dallas who's head of the French horn section in the Dallas Symphony Orchestra. If you guys find a common bond in something in model railroading, you'll become friends forever, and probably good friends, lifelong friends. Don't you think that's like the coolest thing about model?
I think that's the best thing about model railroading.
Me too.
You don't know who you're going to meet, and when you do meet that person, the bond you make between that person lives with you the rest of your life, because they like something you like, and you like something they like, and you could talk for hours and days about the exact same thing. And every time you meet up, it's like you were two long lost brothers that met again. Every time, and the conversation never ended. It kept going.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Like your two long lost brothers or sisters, or a brother and a sister. There's lots of ladies in the hobby as well. And that's the best part about model railroading. And I knew you're a perfect example, because you're a fine, upstanding citizen. You're a good guy, a truck mechanic. Well, this is like being a truck mechanic. That must be hard work.
In January and February, yeah, it is. Yeah. It is hard work. It's cold. Middle of summer, it's not the greatest either. It's too hot. You can't dress for it. The best time of the year is the spring and the fall, and yeah, it can be hard, but it can be easy too. There's days you go home, you're super dirty. It looks like you rolled around in the mud all day, and there's other days you go home and it looks like you just had your nails done at the beauty parlor.
So how does a guy decide to become a truck mechanic?
Love trucks, love trains, love anything heavy, dirty. Just like getting my hands dirty. So.
Okay, cool. So you went to mechanic school of some sort.
Yep.
And so do you work outside, inside?
Both.
So inside's a lot easier than outside.
I would say outside's a lot easier than inside.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because outside, you're trying to figure out, how do I get that vehicle inside? After it's inside, then you start the hard part of, okay, here's the problem. Now we got to fix that problem, which can take an hour up to days, depending on what the problem is.
So do you work on are you with a dealership working on a particular brand?
I work for Fleet, based out of Calgary, Alberta, and we're North America wide. So we see equipment come up from the US, we see equipment come in from the West Coast, the East Coast, and local equipment.
So when you say a fleet, you mean you work for a particular transport company?
Yeah, for a particular transport company.
Oh, can we say the name, or we're not allowed to?
Yeah, it's Trimac Transportation, based out of Calgary, Alberta.
Okay, that's a big company.
Yeah.
Now we know the interest in the bulk carrier stuff.
Yeah, that's the interest in the bulk carrier stuff.
So do you work on the trailers and the cabs, or both? Or
I work on both.
Okay, what's the hardest thing you've ever had to fix?
Crack frame.
Wow. How do you
it just happened a few weeks ago too. So
how do you fix a cracked frame?
You have to remove a lot of equipment, or not equipment, but parts and axles, just to get at the frame to fix it. And in some cases, you lift the tank right off the frame and roll a brand new frame right underneath the trailer, right underneath the barrel. I put it all back together, and about 2 or 3 weeks later, it rolls out of the shop, and it's making loads again and delivering food grade products or fuel, or like in that trailer, that's a dry bulk cement trailer.
So it carries cement powder then?
Cement powder, yes.
So is that what would happen? Is that what you guys did? You rolled a new frame under it?
In that case, we were able to weld the frame a little bit and move some stuff around and change a few pieces out. But yeah, in some cases, we've literally lifted the we call the barrel off the frame, rolled a brand new frame underneath it, dropped the barrel back down, and a couple days later, it rolls out the door.
Wow, that sounds like a massive job.
Yeah, it's fun. That's the only thing. I always say my day's always different. I don't go to work and do the same boring thing day after day. Every day is a new challenge and a new interest. You never know what you're going to see next.
Right. And how many mechanics are in the shop you're in?
20.
All right. What's your favorite kind of tractor to work on? What's your favorite tractor? Let's put it that way. What do you think?
I wouldn't say I have a favorite tractor. I like pretty much all the tractors I work on. It's more, in my opinion, it's more an engine, and my favorite engine is a Detroit Series 60 or 60 Series engine. That was my favorite go-to engine when it was being produced. So I would say a Volvo for a highway tractor. If I was driving from here from Toronto to California, I'd put myself in a Volvo. If I wanted to show myself off, I put myself in a long nose Peterbilt.
Oh, okay, there you go. So for comfort, the Volvo; for showing off, the Peterbilt.
Yeah,
I'll think of that next time I'm driving down the highway, down to Florida. I think this went pretty good. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about, Steve?
No, I all I know is I got to get my website built. That's all I know.
Yeah, you do have to get that website built. I'm insisting upon that. I'm afraid I'm going to have to put my foot down. You and Dan. What's Dan Notley? And if you say so, I guess if you said his whole name backwards, it would be Nad Yelton. Yelton.
Yep.
Nad Yelton.
So I have one more thing, and I wanted to say this is more for Bruce, but Bruce, I actually have a story about Lionel. And when Lionel and I had a little conversation the other day, I brought this story up, and I thought it might be a good little story just to add to the end of our conversation today. And this was a few years ago. My dad was up to run Lionel's layout, and Lionel ran live loads on his layout, and it was a coal train. And one of the guys that was running the coal train actually dumped one of the cars of coal on the layout. And Lionel says, "Okay, not a big deal." Comes over with a vacuum, vacuums up this coal, and okay, no problem. Here we go. Let's get going again. No more problems. And all the guys were going, "Oh, this is bad. There's a big mess. He's gonna freak out." No, he was cool and calm, and I need to make money today, so let's get this railroad back in operation and keep going. So Dad told me that story long ago, and I've always remembered that story. So Lionel's one of those guys that's pretty easy going and a pretty nice gentleman to always talk to and deal with. So that's my Lionel story for today.
That's a good Lionel story. I'm going to send anybody that complains about the layout, or you know what, Bruce, the next guy that calls the layout cheesy.
There you go.
I'm going to send him to see Steve.
Yeah, I was just going to say that Ron got the guest deal on that, because I remember if your regular members, we dumped a load of coal, we'd have to be paying 25 cents a piece.
That's right.
That sucks. Was that per piece of coal, too, Bruce?
Oh yeah, per piece of coal picked up, we had to pay 25 cents, man.
We had some sort of a point system, didn't we?
We did, and the winner/loser got to wear the vest of shame at the end of the
next operating session, we had the vest of shame. That's right.
Or Bruce, was it type of deal where you had to show up with donuts? Like,
no, you had donuts as well, but no, we had a fine schedule, and you could write your reasons down. Like one of the guys said, it was the voices in my head told me. And,
that's right.
We had a lot of fun with it.
That's the setup we have. If you show up late to an operating session when all my buddies come over, if you're the last one to show up, you better know next time you're bringing the donuts because you showed up late.
There you go. That's right. Yeah. Oh, that's the way we did it. We did it to have fun and
the money went in the pot. And we bought something nice.
That's right. At the end of the year, one year we had enough money to buy jackets for each other.
Yes,
that's right. And
then we improved our skills.
It was a cool system. It was a lot of fun. All right. Well, I think that was pretty. All right. So then your job, Steve, is once you get your website going, is you're going to let me know, and we'll get you back on here again, talking more. Because I bet you any money, or in fact, I'm convinced because you got such a line of products here already, that you get a website going, make it easy for people to find your products. People are going to go nuts. Do you sell much to any place or other places around the world, or into the south of the border into the United States, the lower 48?
New Zealand.
Really?
Just New Zealand?
Just New Zealand, yeah.
Wow. Now, I got a quick question for you.
Sure.
Sometime in the future of your company, are you looking at doing the Fairmont Speeders?
So that is not that the speeder we just done? I've done... So we did
well, you said you did a Woodings, right?
Okay, that's the one we've just brought out just recently.
Okay.
We did do the Fairmont Speeder. That was the first speeder we did. That's available in HO and in O. We've now just brought out the Woodings Speeder, and that's also available in HO and O.
Okay, I'm thinking more of the Fairmont may be popular in the movie The Railroader.
Okay, that's a little different. So that's one of the next speeder projects we're going to do. The 2022 agenda of new models coming out is going to be featured around trackside.
Okay.
So anything to do trackside. So signals, speeders, trackside sheds is kind of our go-to this year. Like that's where we're what can make your layout pop by little things. So speeders is one of them.
Yeah, and I also see on Facebook there's a group for product suggestion. You getting a lot of good feedback from that group?
Yeah, we're working on a project right now, which will probably have the project released for viewing, or have the first prototype model out of Smithville, Ontario. The THME station that was in Smithville,
the Witcher's Hat
Ontario.
station.
Yes.
Beautiful station.
We're just starting on some of the design work right now. We hope by late spring, early summer to have a prototype of the station out. It's a lot of work building. When we did AC Tower was a 6-month project. This project's going to be a little bit bigger, so it'll probably be around the same amount of time, about 6 months, with new features than what we did last year. So we're always trying to update our skills with new stuff. So that's where we're going.
Who does all your design work? You and Dan together, or Dan mostly, or
mostly Dan?
Right.
I do a lot of the R&D and field work. So if it's something like we did a CNR signal relay cabinets recently, and I went out in Hamilton, I found a couple of these, and I took my cell phone camera, a tape measure, measured them all up, took a bunch of pictures, went back to Dan and said, hey, this is what I got. And we put them into the computer, measured them up, printed one or two off, saw what they look like, and then redefined it from that again. We were actually able to make eye bolts to sit on the top of the as lifting points on top of their cabinet.
Oh, nice.
All 3D printed, all out of resin. We've gone back from then and modified them a little bit more to bulk up the eye bolt, just because the first eye bolts we made were a little too thin, very delicate. So if somebody accidentally hit it by re-railing a car, they wouldn't break them. So that's one of the things I always look at when we're building a new model is reliability too. Like if it's gonna break by me just looking at it, then I know it's a problem. So
right.
Bruce is right. YeltonModels.com is available.
Awesome. Awesome. So you guys know where I'll be tonight. So don't look for me at the bar because I won't be there.
Okay. All right. You get off here and get that domain name because you don't want to lose that. It's also available.
Well, there's a nice couple blondes walking towards me. I don't know. I might follow them down the beach for a little bit.
Trust me, sport. If you can find a mirror, you'll know that they're not walking towards you.
Ah, damn it. That sucks. That wasn't very nice.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That had to hurt.
Yeah, a little bit, Bruce. I'll pull that knife out of my side right now.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry. They weren't walking towards me either.
No, they're walking towards Bruce. That's why.
They certainly weren't walking towards me.
But I am a strikingly handsome man for my age.
You are indeed.
I have, and when I get that Don Johnson hair,
oh man, the chicks will be all over you.
All over me.
No.
They'll be all over you like bees on honey.
Yep.
Lionel, what you got to do is you got to slick it back or spike it and put blonde tips on the top of it. They'll be all over that.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. So I have a problem with guys that dye their hair. Not a problem. Now I'm thinking, oh, geez, Tom Jacobs is listening to this. Yeah. It's not like that kind of problem, Tom. Just relax. But young guys that are dyeing their hair, getting tips and things, it's like, no, girls do that, not guys. What happened to us?
Welcome to the new world, man.
I know. Well,
hey, Lionel, it's like the guys that go out there and dye their hair. They're 25 years old and they're dyeing their hair gray. Most guys at 50 and 60 are going, no, I don't want gray hair. I don't want gray hair. And that guy right there at 25 is dyeing his hair gray. Like,
and then you get guys like me wishing they had hair.
Yeah.
And need guys like me that have to constantly get a cut. It's not easy.
The burdens of life, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then the worst part was when I cut my hair because I did my COVID cut and I shaved her right down to like 1/8 of an inch. I suddenly discovered I had this like thing in the middle that looked like the Florida. This long thing, and there was like two.
Yeah, the Eddie Munster look going.
Yeah, it was like horrible.
Eddie Munster look. Ew.
Oh my God! I didn't realize I looked like that. All right, that's it. We're done.
All right.
So, Bruce, can you give out our email address?
Yes, our email address. As always, we'd like to hear from you as to what you like or didn't like. We accept all and take all into account and read them all. Our email address is modlerslife@gmail.com. That's modelers with one L like Yelton, not two L's like Lionel.
Nice.
One L like Yelton, not two L's like Lionel. That's modlerslife@gmail.com.
You see, Steve, if you think I just insulted you, wait till you hear this. Jesus, Bruce, you kind of sounded like Kelly there.
Oh, it was so good, and then I screwed up your name. At least I got Yelton right.
Yeah, thanks, Bruce.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. And we have a website.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we have a website.
We have a website.
My mumbling's all that much better.
We have a website. It's modelerslife.com. And if you go to that website and you just scroll down a little bit, there's everything you need to know about a modeler's life right on that website, Steve. And if you just scroll down a little bit, there'll be a picture of the moderately agitated mailboy in a particularly agitated state. And all you got to do if you want to send us an email is click on that picture and boom, the email comes up. The address is already in there. All you got to do is put in your title and your text and hit send, and away it goes. And we love getting email, don't we, Bruce?
We love email. We have a great fun doing email. We love it.
Plus or negative, we love email.
Indeed we do.
And I like.
What else is on the Modeler's Life page?
And
what is also on the Modeler's Life page? Like, what do I need to add to my page to make it as good as the Modeler's Life page?
Well, another thing on the Modeler's Life page is there's actually a link to Ron's. Hi, I'm Ron of Ron's Trains and Things.
Hi, I'm Ron of Ron's Trains and Things, and if you'd like to see more model railroad tips, tools, and techniques, then be sure and subscribe down below and click that little bell icon so you can catch future videos.
There's a link to his page, but also there's a link to the Patreon page. And Patreon is on Monday. Every Monday, our podcast is free. All you got to do is be alive and breathing and know how to download a podcast, or just load it on, or listen to it on your computer, and or on YouTube. There's you can get it on YouTube. But on Tuesday, for just 365 easy payments of 16 cents a day, you too can have twice as much podcasting enjoyment, because every Tuesday there's a podcast on the Patreon channel, which you pay for. It's like satellite radio, and our buddy Kaylee Zhang calls that the Antics channel, and or there's a lot of names we came up with a name for it the other night too. I forget what it was.
It was a good one too, which is why we probably forgot. Nobody wrote it down. Exactly. Yeah, that's real good. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, let's write that down.
Yeah.
And there's ways to download them. And the front page is all about upcoming episodes and recent episodes. And then there's a super fan page. There's all kinds of stuff. And then besides that, where do you buy most of your model railroad supplies, Steve?
It's not that one in the Midwest. I'll tell you that. I actually buy it from Burlington Junction Model Trains, Hamilton, Ontario.
Well, now I thought you had your own little place,
That's my shop, Burlington Junction.
Burlington Junction Model Trains. There you go. Who's your supplier in Canada? Who's your main guy?
I use a lot of different people. There's not one main supplier.
Okay. And also, if you go to Midwest Model Railroad and you click on their URL, midwestmodelrr.com, and you slide all the way across to the right and click on the AML, you'll be opened up to a wonderland of merchandise: hats, hoodies, T-shirts, mugs, whatever you could possibly need. If you want a picture of a hot dog on a T-shirt, that's the place to go.
Oh, I gotta go there. I'm going there.
You want a picture of the AML logo with a coffee stain on the T-shirt? We got you covered.
Yeah. If you want a picture of a sock, that's the place to go.
Are you saying I can get AML socks there too?
No, you can get a T-shirt with a picture of a sock on it. Fred the sock.
The fighting sock. Yeah.
Yeah. From Argyle, He's from Argyle, Texas, home of the fighting socks.
Yes.
I think that's it. Have we covered it all, Bruce?
I think that's it. There's one thing left for you to do with our guest, and we're done.
So hopefully in the future, folks, before time passes on too much, you'll be able to go to YeltonModels.com and see everything that these guys, Steve and Dan, have to offer. Or Steve and Nad.
Dan.
Dan.
I'll tell him that. I like that Nad. I like that name better. Nad, yeah.
Yeah, Nad. We'll have to get him on here one time.
Yeah, we should. You should. That'd be great. I think he'd really like that.
Does he have a personality?
I remember, it's as good as yours. It's as good as yours.
I remember talking to him. It's as good as mine. Well, now you've insulted the guy. I remember talking to him at whatever it was called, Little Canada or Canada on the Move.
Home in Miniature Wonderland or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it was. And I remember talking to him there. Great guy. Seemed like a very nice guy. Okay, are you ready, Steve?
Yes, sir.
Do you know what to say at the end?
Happy trails to you.
Yeah, but not now.
Why not? You said right now.
No, I said
no.
Do you know what
you said at the end.
At the end.
But he did answer. He did give the correct answer.
I don't think so. I think the correct answer was either a simple yes or a no.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, Steve, as we close the barn doors on another.
What happened, Lionel?
Hey, you sound like Kelly now.
Yeah, now I sound like Kelly. Now I sound like Kelly.
It's contagious.
We're tossing the insults around like crazy.
Yeah.
We love you, Kelly. I actually do, Kelly. You're awesome. Well, Steve, as we close the barn doors on another episode of A Modeler's Life, and the sun slowly sets over the back 40, I guess there's nothing else left to do except for you to say...
Happy trails to you.
Oh.
Yeah, that was kind of like...
Close, but no cigar. Rails, not trails.
Rails? Happy rails to you. Let's try this again, Lionel.
Try this again.
And with enthusiasm. Okay. When your part comes up, this is your big chance. You want to say it with enthusiasm.
The whole model railroad world is listening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Steve, are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Well, Steve, as we close the barn doors on another episode of A Modeler's Life, and the sun slowly sets over the back 40, I guess there's nothing else left to do except for you to say,
happy rails to you.
While in Busted Knuckle, guests of A Modeler's Life podcast stay at the Casa del Sol Motor Court and Inn, where late-night dancing at the Rumba Room is a magical event to be experienced.
It's another Lincoln Homer.
Beautiful.
That was gorgeous. What did you think,
That's
Steve?
a wonderful thing.
That was awesome.
Yeah. How did I sound?
Awesome.
How did I sound?
You sounded amazing.